The Libra full moon will be happening on the 5th, 6th of April 2023, and this is a collective message for everyone. I will have timestamps down below of how this full moon will impact your sign, sun, moon, and rising. There will be a link for appreciation of these videos, as well as a link for bookings of readings through my website. So now, the full moon will be happening in the sign of Libra on the 5th, 6th of April 2023. The sun will be opposite in the sign of Aries, exalted. The sun loves to be in the sign of Aries. And we also have Chiron, the wounded heel, in the sign of Aries as well, with Jupiter, which is about luck, opportunity, expansion, and growth in the sign of Aries. This full moon will highlight your relationships, your social dynamics that you no longer want to be a part of. What needs to change, grow, transform, or you will completely want to separate from. Libra is a sign of relationships. It's where we connect one-on-one with someone. It's where we build on our relationships. But this is showing us where our relationships are no longer in alignment to us. Maybe we've been people-pleasing, giving away too much of our energy. We do have Chiron in the sign of Aries, and this energy Chiron has been in Aries since about 2018, 2019 in the sign of Aries. So we've been going through this transformation with Aries for some time now, of understanding especially the wounds of self, betrayal, failure, where we let ourselves down. Aries deals with self. Chiron is the wounds of self, where we let ourselves down, where we feel victimized, where we feel betrayed, where we feel these things. And especially because we are dealing with a Libra full moon, this has to do with our relationships. But we've been on this journey of healing with Chiron, and we do have Jupiter in Aries that is giving us the wisdom, the expansion, the growth, and the opportunities through our wounds to step up into empowerment. The sun is exalted in the sign of Aries. So we have been dealing with wounds, but we will be triggered and have to be aware or feeling sensitive during this full moon to these wounds, because it's bringing our attention to our one-on-one relationships and the relationship dynamics that are no longer working. So what needs to change and transform? Do I need to express myself? This is a full moon in the sign of Libra. And Libra is ruled by Venus, and Venus is currently in the sign of Taurus along with Mercury and Uranus, and it's at home, especially Venus is at home in the sign of Taurus. Taurus rules about what we value, what is important to us. And both Taurus and Aries are self-sustaining signs, whereas Libra is a sign of connection to others. So this full moon, well, what is coming up within your relationships, it's important for you to find a friend or find someone you can confide in to realize what needs to change within your relationships. This is the energy, especially with Libra, where we relate to someone so that they can get a better understanding of us and we can understand ourselves through clarity. It's almost like we need to express ourselves, out into the open, hear ourselves, hear our thoughts, and then we gain clarity on what we need to do. But it's a lot revolving around our relationships, and the relationships are no longer of value to us. Our value systems are changing as we've been doing a lot of self-healing through Chiron, which is building our empowerment with Jupiter, and all of this energy is making us stronger in ourselves. And this is where our relationships need to either transform or we will separate from them. During this full moon in the sign of Libra, yes, it can be deeply emotional because of full moons bring all our emotions to the surface in general. Full moons bring things to a head. Full moons bring things to a completion point, and especially in the sign of Libra when it comes to our relationships. So we'll be looking at our relationships very closely and seeing what needs to change. And we might even decide to express that to the person that we feel we need this change to happen to in order for us to relate. And if we feel that we cannot relate to the people around us or the person we want to relate to, this is where the relationship will come to an end. There's a big change happening within our relationships, and this is a very important full moon, as in July of 2023, the North Node will move into Aries and the South Node will move into Libra, where it will stay for a year and a half, and we'll have eclipses. We will be starting them already in April, but we will be having eclipses in this year in the sign of Aries and Libra. And what this is bringing awareness to is releasing especially with the South Node, is releasing from relationships that are no longer serving us, putting an end to relationships and closing chapters on those relationships, especially if they are not willing to evolve as our values are shifting and who we are is shifting. And the North Node will be in Aries in July for a year and a half, pointing us to direction of self and attaining our goals and moving towards empowerment of self. So this full moon that's happening is very important. It's very important for us to really look at our relationships and ask ourselves, what social dynamics do we no longer want to be a part of? What changes we want to make? Because we will be going into the journey going forward in July for the next year and a half that will be transforming us and our relationships on a deep level. On a level where we either want those relationships to transform in order for us to continue on this journey with the relationship, or the relationships will come to an end. So this full moon is bringing the same thing to our awareness. What needs to change? What am I clear about within my relationships? Do I need to write it down? Do I need to communicate with someone in order for me to gain clarity of what is important to me emotionally? What have I been healing within myself that is now empowering me to step into my power to set healthy boundaries in relationships? Libra is the energy sometimes of giving too much power away to relationships, where we tend to people please, when we say yes when we really mean no, where we are just, in order to avoid conflict and tension. But now this is the energy of stepping up into your empowerment in order for you to say, okay, no more of that. If it brings conflict, let it be. I'd rather have this discussed so that we can understand the journey I'm on and the journey you on, and see if either we can go on the same journey or do we need to separate ways. That's the important thing. That is the energy of this full moon. So beautiful full moon, and we do have energy in the sign of Taurus highlighting our values. Mercury also, we'll be thinking about what we value, especially, and also with Venus in Taurus. And what we value is important. We'll be also thinking about financially. Relationships that involve finances too will come up, and value also over time. Resources, energy, what we give to these relationships will be important. Not only just finances, but what we actually give to these relationships. And are we the ones giving? Are we not receiving much? Do we need to readjust this so we can find balance within this? Or are we just involved in a relationship that's taking away all our time, energy, finances, and we're feeling completely depleted? How can I really find balance within my one-on-one relationships? This is a great full moon for self-love, self-nurturing, and self-care, right? Because that's the energy of this full moon, where we focus more on ourselves in order to build upon healthy relationships. Now let's get into the signs, sun, moon, and rising Aries. Now Aries, obviously this full moon is highlighting your relationships and what needs to change within your one-on-one relationships. This full moon will really bring your relationships out into changes you need to make when it comes to relationships, and what relationships you need to let go of or end, or what relationships can actually evolve and transform as you are evolving and transforming going forward. Taurus, for you, this has to do with your work, health, and routine. What changes you need to make to your work, health, and routine. How you're sleeping, how you're eating, are you taking care of yourself? You might be feeling like your health, like you're not having a lot of energy during this full moon. Give yourself some rest. You'll also be thinking about changes you want to make to your work life. And during this time, this full moon will allow you to think about ways for you to become more organized, and that organization will help your relationships. When you are feeling disorganized, scattered, and all over the place, it's very hard then to find time and energy for relationships. But when you are more organized, you can have more time for these things. Now, for you, Gemini, this full moon will be highlighting your relationships, especially because it's happening in the house of fun, romance, leisure. So romantic relationships will come into the light under this full moon, and what is working for you and what's not working for you, and what boundaries do you need to have, and where do you need to basically bring more romance into an existing relationship. Boundaries if you're giving away too much of your energy and accepting less than you deserve within relationships. But definitely a time where you might even want to bring more passion, more love into your relationship. It's a great time for fun. It's a great time for pleasure. If you have children, it's a great time to spend some time with them as well. Or if you don't have children, it's a great time to focus on the inner child and having fun and pleasure within your life, because that is also self-care. And when we give to ourselves, we can give to others. Now for you, Cancer, when it comes to your home life, this can be bringing up family relationships. Family, domestic, anyone that you live with, right? You might be thinking about changing home, moving home, domestic disputes within the home. This Libra full moon will highlight imbalances within your living situations. Anyone that you live with. So it can be a roommate even, doesn't have to be a family member. Anyone you let into your home life, because the home life is very private. This full moon for you, Cancer, can be very emotional and very sensitive. Give yourself a moment if you need some. You might need some time alone, some time at home, some time in comfort, because it's impacting your heart, especially when it comes to your relationships, family dynamics, and especially domestic issues when it comes to your living situation. Great time if you're thinking about moving home. Great time for decluttering your home. All of those things to improve your home environment will definitely improve your emotional well-being. Now for you, Leo, communication. This full moon is highlighting the communication within your relationships. How do you communicate? How do others communicate for you? Is the communication in balance? This full moon will have you a lot thinking within your mind, a lot about communication. If you're thinking about communicating with someone during this full moon, most definitely do so, Leo, right? This is where you might even decide, oh, I haven't seen that person in a while. I want to communicate with them. But also, this full moon will have you release connections that you no longer want to connect to, people you don't want to communicate to anymore. You'll be thinking about how much of energy you put into communication, how much of energy others put into communication. This full moon highlights learning, anything you want to learn. It's a great full moon for reading, writing, and journaling. Now for you, Virgo, when it comes to your finances and income, this full moon will be highlighting your finances and money. Okay, and especially when it comes to what needs to be released, are there relationships, connections that you have, doesn't have to be romantic, that are taking away from your skills and talents and income in any way, shape, or form. So you need to really look at that. What is taking away from my income? What connections am I having? Am I spending time with people that are negative? Right? And that's bringing me down when it comes to my skills and talents, because now I'm starting to develop a negative mindset and I'm more critical than usual, allowing me not to go after the income that I truly want to. This is a time where you really need to reassess the people that you keep around you when it comes to your income. And oftentimes when we have to change jobs, or if we want to boost our income in any way, the relationships around us need to change, because we're changing in our value. So clearly, if we're changing within our value, it will also impact the relationships that we have. If they are strong relationships, they'll carry through. Now, this full moon is asking you to really go after your skills and talents. What has been holding you back? If you want to earn more income, it's a great time to go after that promotion, change jobs, definitely do that. It's also a time where you can also receive a financial reward for anything you've been working on. Now for you, Libra, this is happening within you. It's your full moon happening on the 5th, 6th of April 2023. Powerful full moon for you. Are really looking at your relationships and where are they out of balance. One-on-one connections with others, doesn't have to be romantic when it comes to Libra. It can be romantic, it can be platonic, it can be a friend, it can be a family member. You are changing. That's what's happening. Your relationships may have triggered deep wounds and sensitivities within you, but it's making you realize through those wounds and sensitivities you've changed, you've reached to a point of empowerment, and your relationships are needing to change because you are evolving. And the more you evolve, Libra, the better connections you can have with others, because you're letting go of the old self. Maybe you said yes, maybe you people pleased, maybe you were just doing things and going through the motions within your relationships. But this Libra full moon is helping you find yourself, and through finding yourself, you're becoming very clear about what you want within your life going forward. You can definitely go after opportunities. You can go after goals, because it's about you releasing the baggage emotionally from relationships that are holding you back. Whether those relationships put you down, made you feel lack of belief within self, made you feel like you weren't deserving, maybe made you feel bad about yourself. You are now releasing those past experiences and moving to a version of yourself that is not giving into that energy, and transforming, forgiving yourself, and moving forward into who you want to be. Now, Scorpio, this full moon can be very exhausting for you and tiring. You might need some time to rest and rejuvenate. You might find yourself feeling very sleepy under this full moon. Rest, okay? You will be closing out old chapters, old stories when it comes to your relationships with others, old experiences. This full moon is putting the past to bed. Even anything that you thought or felt about yourself that's been holding you back, you are putting it to bed. You will need some rest. You might feel like you need some time to isolate. It's a great time for meditation. It's a great time for a nature walk by yourself, but you're really spending time focusing on you, but it's in solitude. You won't be feeling like, let's go party. You will be needing some time to yourself. And even if you do go out in a party, you will still feel like, I'm here, but I'm feeling more withdrawn than usual. And that's the energy. You're feeling withdrawn. You're closing old chapters. You can feel very emotional. Past experiences can come up during this full moon. You are putting to bed and laying to rest the past under this full moon. And now, especially when it comes to relationships, Sagittarius, for you, this is about your connections and social circles and hopes and dreams. This full moon wants you to align to people that are on the same page, are on the same vibration, in the same journey when it comes to your hopes and dreams. You cannot connect to people that basically are sitting around complaining and woe is me, the life is just terrible. And I'm not going to be able to work towards anything. That will drain you, Sagittarius. You are jovial, you are inspiration, you are a fire sign. So you are looking for people that share inspiration, that share philosophically, that are there for wisdom and growth, right? And that's the energy. You're looking for people that are wise, people that are willing to grow, people that are philosophical. I got that word right. People that are basically wanting to expand in their lives. And that connection to those groups will really make you feel really good. You could get some gossip in friends groups or social groups, work groups, family groups, any group that you're part of that's a social interaction, the morning walk group that you go with, right? There might be some gossip and tension within those groups, and you'll be reassessing whether you really want to socially connect to these people anymore. Because what is this doing for you when it comes to the vision and future you see for yourself? And sometimes we need to be honest with ourselves and see that people are on different roads and journeys from us. That's the journey they're taking. There's nothing wrong with that journey. It's just that journey is not for you. And you will make your choice from there. Capricorn, this energy is focusing on your career, your goals, and your reputation. So Capricorn, you are dealing with emotional wounds when it comes to your career, goals, and reputations that you are empowering yourself with. So this can be very sensitive, especially this full moon when it comes to your home life, right? Triggers might happen there emotionally, so you'll be feeling sensitive when it comes to family, home life. But the full moon is telling you to focus on career changes and growth that you want, right? What do you need to release within your life? You've been spending this month spending a lot of time with family, maybe interacting with family. The sun's in Aries, and that's the energy of family for you. But it's telling you, okay, you've been doing this, but you need to focus on your career. You need to focus on your goals. This is where if you've been working towards anything, you can get a reward for what you've been working towards. Or you might make a change to your goals so that you can work towards them. But you definitely highlighted under this full moon of working towards what you want. It puts you in a leadership role because your reputation is highlighted. So if you have an employer, this is where they might notice you more and you can go for that promotion. It also can highlight you in your family life where they might ask your advice or seek to talk to you, communicate with you more on complex problems. But ultimately, any goals, any dreams, any aspirations you have for yourself under this full moon, you can go for it. Release the emotional baggage of, stuff that has happened that's made you very sensitive emotionally, that make you feel like you can't go after your goals. It's hurt you deeply, and that's what's making you feel stuck. Remember, Jupiter is there with Aries, empowering you to move past those things so that you can actually go after your goals. Aquarius, this is a beautiful full moon for meeting people that are different from you. And Aquarius, you're all about difference. So this energy is telling you to connect to people that are different from you. This is great for a spiritual journey. It's great for travel. You'll be even wanting to connect to people very different from you with different perspectives, different ideas. And this will shift your belief systems. And as your belief systems shift about yourself, which is very important. If we believe the worst about ourselves and we feel our belief systems can become outdated. Sometimes we just feel like, I believe I'm a failure. Maybe I feel like I'm a letdown. Maybe I'm not there, not enough for my friends. This is where the belief system shifts for you, where you're like, okay, that's not really working for me anymore. This Libra full moon is like, you'll meet someone that will speak to you and tell you know what, you need to focus on you. And all of a sudden you'll be like, yes, I'm doing the best I can. I'm only human. And I can only connect to this amount of people because I'm an Aquarius. And you'll be able to do that. And that's what it's doing. It's shifting your belief systems. And when you shift about how you believe about yourself, that can help you go after your dreams. This is a full moon about expansion. It's about growth. It's about philosophical matters. And it's about your spiritual journey as well as physical journeys. So if anything you want to learn, you want to pick up a book and read it. So it's where you expand your mind, you expand your experience. You can definitely do that because it will help you connect to people that are more in alignment to you, that can help you expand in different ways, in growth and in going after what you want and welcoming new opportunities. Now for you, Pisces, this full moon is asking you to spend some time processing when it comes to your relationships, lack of boundaries. This full moon can bring information to light, secrets within you, about you, and secrets about others. This full moon will show you what is hidden. This full moon will highlight your pain and things that, have hurt you. This full moon is asking you to emotionally find empowerment through difficult experiences, especially when it's connected to your relationships. This full moon will also have you thinking about finances in relationships and where that has been out of balance. And how do you really need to bring the balance back to you? Because sometimes when we are either emotionally invested in relationships or we're doing a lot of things physically for relationships or even giving finance to relationships, we can't invest in ourselves. So this is where you're putting healthy boundaries around you. This full moon will allow you to be vulnerable and open up to people that you feel you can trust. And it'll be good for you because when you open up to people you can trust, you can gain clarity. So, about who you are, what you want, and you're letting go of these past traumas in order to spend more time investing your energy in relationships and also finances that you want. This full moon is happening in the area of your chart that highlights finances, investments, debts, death itself, D-E-A-T-H, death, sex, psychological. This is this full moon, endings, letting go. This full moon is telling you what you need to let go of emotionally, that pain that is holding you back. And once you clear all of those things from your heart, Pisces, you can really open your heart to receive more abundance in your life. And that's what this full moon is telling you. And to also set healthy boundaries in relationships that are taking too much of your energy. This is a deeply spiritual, transformative full moon for you on a psychological and a spiritual level. Thank you so much for watching. Do like and subscribe and comment down below.